It was our first time to tour the museum, and like I spoke before, it all comes back. Everybody in Oklahoma remembers where they were in 1995, and I was a senior at Oklahoma State, and then it just kind of came on the news as the terror struck our state, and so Oklahoma City has done a fabulous job with that museum, the interactive stuff. All of our kids were playing with it, learning the story, the history, the artifacts that were brought back here, and then what a fantastic tour guide. We had Justice Taylor, who actually was the sitting judge at the trial, to kind of give us the tour. So what a fantastic day for the children. This morning at breakfast, we also were kind of given the history of what happened to our state. It really changed a lot of things in our nation.
What does this mean to you, being that this is your first time to, I guess, be here at the ceremony as a governor?
Well, it's just it's a humbling experience, and it's an honor for me to remember to carry on this tradition. And I spoke to Frank Keating before, who was my governor back when this happened in 1995, and it's a humbling experience, and it's part of my job as governor to continue this tradition on and to make sure that we don't remember the 168 lives that were lost. And a friend of mine from college, he came up and shook my hand as we were walking in, and Mickey Maroney, his father, died, and I remember that one back in college. And then Secretary Arthur, who's on my cabinet, she was a 13-year-old girl and lost her mom, who was a vet at the USDA that morning. So it affects everybody in Oklahoma. We're 1 degree separated, really. It's touched everybody's lives in Oklahoma, and it's just an honor, and it's a privilege, and I'm humbled to be here.
Can you talk about how important it is for the next generation, your kids, the other kids, to actually understand the meaning and the significance of
Yeah, I think that's our job. That's part of the reason that Oklahoma City's put this great memorial together and the 168 chairs, is just to make sure that we let the next generation know what happened here, and also what Oklahoma City has done to unite, and that Oklahoma standard that came out of what happened 24 years ago is really an example to the nation of what a community can do. And but it's so important for us to teach these lessons and to our young people, and so we do not forget.
Hey Sarah, your thoughts on being here today and taking the family through?
Well, it just brought me back to where I was in that moment, and I remember as a young girl coming down here just a couple of days after the bombing, and my dad, we walked around the downtown and got very close, and I just remember that unrest, and everybody was questioning why, but still in that you had people that were down here with the rescue workers and the victims' families who were standing here waiting to hear the results of where their loved one was. And I just remember that. I remember the churches down here handing out water and being down here, and it just reminds you that Oklahoma is resilient and we're strong. And I do think it's very important that we pass it on to the next generation, because as we were speaking this morning at breakfast, my children didn't really have a reference point, which when you live it, you remember it. And so it was interesting to me that the questions they were asking, and then as we went through the museum, which is amazing, and it's very interactive for this next generation to be able to learn the story, but the questions my children were asking, and it kind of took them back and how they were reflecting. When you look at the pictures of the little children and their toys, it's a sobering memory, but it also is encouraging because we've risen from that and we've become stronger. So it's a heavy thought, but it also is a hopeful thought.
And we appreciate you guys, covering this today, and so it's fantastic. And remind everybody to come out at the Oklahoma City Marathon Memorial Race. It's going to be on next Sunday. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor.
Are you ready, Governor?
No, I've got to keep training pretty hard this week. Thank you.